Welcome back. I'm sharing some cozy and nourishing meals my whole family enjoys, even my young kids. These dishes are hearty, healthy, and made with a whole lot of love. Now, realistically, fitting from scratch cooking into a busy week, juggling what feels like a million other responsibilities is not always easy, but it's worth it. I'll show you how I approach it while still keeping things enjoyable. Today I'm going to make a version of chicken pot pie that my family really likes. It's a little easier with a few adjustments. I actually use ground turkey because my children actually just prefer it instead of chicken. And then I make it like topped with biscuits instead of like a pie crust, as it's a lot simpler to throw together. So now I'm just making the cheesy biscuits. It's just flour, cheese, some sage, and some baking powder. Plus cold heavy cream and salt and pepper. Just stir until combined and refrigerate until ready to use. Like many of the meals I love, this can be prepared throughout the day in steps. I cut the potatoes and ground the sausage this morning, and now I'm just going to go ahead and make the sauce with some mushrooms and other vegetables and finish up the biscuits and throw it in the oven so it's ready by dinner. Just need to saute mushrooms in the same pan while boiling potatoes in another pot. Always start potatoes in cold salted water and bring them to a boil. It helps cook them evenly without ending up with like a mushy outside and more raw middle. Take the mushrooms out, melt a good amount of butter, and let the onions slowly cook until translucent. Then a bit of flour goes in to thicken it up into that like gravy texture. Followed by a cup of chicken stock that gets whisked in gradually to pretty much break up that flour. And then a cup of milk goes in after with some salt and pepper to taste. And let that gravy simmer for about 5 minutes while getting the biscuits ready for it to all come together. For biscuit dough, I just press it into a rectangle and cut it in 8. Don't fuss with the cutters. I think it helps you avoid any of those extra bits that you have to deal with around the edges, and you can quickly shape them by hand when you're putting them in. Everything gets added back in first, plus some frozen peas and carrots. Then I just kind of layer the biscuits on top, making sure to cover the entire surface. This is a bit of effort, but I was able to do it over nap time, and we ate this for over 3 meals without the kids getting tired of it, which is a huge win in my book, especially since here they really liked everything and ate the vegetables. And I just love a meal that you can prep ahead, cook, and then dinner time is super easy because the later it gets, the more fussy kids get. You need to bake these until browned on top. My baby is not the biggest fan of like crusty breads, so I tried not to overcook these, but I do think the biscuits could have used a bit more time, but I needed to bake it a few more times to reheat it for later meals, and they got there in the end. I've been trying to get a workout in the evenings. It's hard, but I'm doing it. I thought while I'm doing it, I'm gonna make this elderberry syrup for the first time this year. I got these dried organic elderberries. Let me see if you can see them. Here. We'll see how good they are, but seem like good quality. It's hard to find these in your normal grocery store. So I'm just gonna boil them with some water, ginger, cloves, and a little orange peel while I get the workout in. The first bug has already hit our house, so I'm making sure we drink this daily now. Luckily, everyone actually enjoys it. It tastes great on its own and feels like an easy win. Elderberries are loaded with antioxidants and are a great source of vitamin C, especially, also A and B. all of which help support a really strong immune system. Of course, I'm not giving medical advice, but many people swear by elderberry helping prevent and reduce the duration of colds, flu, coughs, infections, everything when taken early and consistently. So honestly, a spoonful a day feels like a small effort for potentially a big benefit. Also, it's so much cheaper to make it at home since it's a pretty small bottle, and here you're getting at least, I don't know, 4 times that amount. It also lasts up to 2 months in the fridge, and I'll probably give some to family too. When making, simmer for at least 30 to 40 minutes until it has reduced by about half, then let it set out to cool completely. You definitely need to simmer these. You cannot eat them. There's a toxicity warning on the berries when you buy them, so simmer them for a long time. The longer it sits out, the better the flavor and extraction of all that good stuff, which is the only downside of making it at night like I did. I would have let it sit out for longer. Sweeten it to taste with your favorite sweetener when taking it off the heat to cool down. I got my shower, did a few other things before straining it right before going to bed. When straining it though, definitely use a cheesecloth. You'll get way more liquid out of it that way. I was really surprised how much more it came out when squeezing it. And you don't want to waste this stuff because buying those berries still, that's not cheap. Next up, meatloaf is one of the only meals I found to get my kids to eat a lot of meat, which to me is an important part of our diet. I think it really deserves a regular spot in our rotation now. Again, another meal that can be pulled together at lunch, which I love. If you use ketchup without high fructose corn syrup, it actually turns out to be pretty healthy too. First, finely chop and saute a mix of vegetables and prep some homemade breadcrumbs. I always try to make my own breadcrumbs whenever I can. Better flavor and fewer subpar ingredients. Once the garlic has had a chance to cook for about a minute or so, in goes a splash of Worcestershire and half the ketchup to simmer for about 5 minutes before cooling down. After that, it's just a matter of mixing in the sausage, ground beef, breadcrumbs, and a couple eggs. Lots of protein in this one, which made my husband real happy too. While the mixture cooled down, I took a moment to feed my sourdough starter. I've got some ciabatta sandwiches on the menu tomorrow and need to get the dough going tonight. I've had such a hard time finding pasture-raised pork, which is so sad considering it used to be a huge industry around here. It's really sad what's happened to that. The only place I can consistently find it now is one stall at our farmer's market, and it's pretty pricey, but I always try to get some when we go. I've been meaning to try one of those online meat subscriptions soon, and maybe one day I'll take the plunge and start buying our meat in bulk when I get a big freezer outside. The dinner bakes for an hour, so keep that in mind when planning, but it's practically done now, and it feels like the perfect time to sneak in a well-deserved treat after that. Right before dinner, I just blanch a bag of green beans, then saute them in a good amount of butter, garlic, and onion powder, salt, and pepper until they just start blistering. They turn out so good every time, and both kids practically lick their plates clean. I don't think there is another meal that even compares. Hard to beat ketchup, right? Oh, it's the end of a Monday. I don't know when Mondays are always so hard, but I made it. I don't have much to do tonight. I'm just going to make some ciabatta sandwich rolls that we can have for sandwiches tomorrow and take care of the bone broth. This is so easy to double, and I'm going to try it with all whole wheat flour and see how it turns out. Let's hope it's good, especially since I'm making double. So the water is, I've got my little notes here, 360 grams, so 600, 720. Ooh. Not doing so great at math. Oh, 718. Perfect. And 24 grams of salt. about 200 grams of starter. Hope I have enough. It's floating. And before I get my spatula dirty again, I always mix this again and either put it in the fridge for next time. Because actually cleaning this thing is not fun. I had very little left here, so I did a little bit more. This time I did 90 grams of flour with, I always do 10 grams less of water and find that works the best. But I usually just do like 50 grams of flour and 40 grams of water. That's ready for some more bread tomorrow. Then 900 grams of whole wheat flour goes in. I don't think you need to adjust anything when using whole wheat flour here. The dough turned out great. This is a double recipe, which I definitely recommend. Honestly, the most time-consuming part is just getting everything out and measuring it. The kneading and shaping only take a few minutes here and there, and then these freeze beautifully. After mixing, I did a stretch and fold every 30 minutes for about 2 hours. Meanwhile, I had those bones simmering all day for broth. I just need to strain it and store it in the fridge. I'm finally getting into a better rhythm of making it weekly since we go through a large jar every week and it's much cheaper to make and tastes so much better and a lot better for us. I'm gonna need some new bones soon though. After a quick shower, I got back to prepping for the week by whipping up a quick batch of homemade mayo. I try to make it at home whenever I can. It's such an easy way to cut down on seed oils, it's more affordable, and it's so simple to make. I used olive oil this time, which gives it definitely a more distinct flavor than store-bought, but it blends beautifully, especially into dressings, which it's going into. Then back to the dough for the first round of stretch and folds. I like to wet my fingers to keep the dough from sticking. This is a sticky dough. After that, I strained and cooled the broth and got it into the fridge before finally calling it a night. Ooh, it felt like it was such a productive day, but I'm going to sleep good. Good morning. I actually woke up before the kids today, a rare but wonderful thing. I love when I'm able to get ahead of the day like this, even though I'm naturally a little bit more of a night owl. And as for baking, she's a beauty. These turned out so well with whole wheat flour, and I love that they're more nutritious and keep us fuller longer. Some things just take whole wheat flour better, and this is one of them. When shaping, I just use a bit of flour and fold these sides in to make a rounded square. Don't stress too much about making them perfectly even. You know, homemade always has that charming unevenness that you know comes with a better taste. I let them rise until lunchtime and then bake. They turned out so delicious, and I'm glad to have plenty in the freezer for later. All right, let's see how these turned out. I baked them a little bit less than the recipe because they looked a little toasty at the 10-minute mark. Rose great, just as good as with all-purpose flour. They're nice and soft on the inside, which my kids really like. We'll see if they like them as much as the all-purpose ones. Fingers crossed. They taste really good to me. I want to make some shredded chicken for dinner tonight, and I'm still on the hunt for a good, easy way to make shredded chicken, so I'm going to try it in the Instant Pot. It's just a little bit of water in there with some seasoning and letting it cook for about 10 minutes and naturally releasing for 5. I like this because it's a little less hands-on than the oven. I seasoned with half a teaspoon of smoked paprika and pepper, 1 teaspoon of garlic powder and salt, and about a cup of bone broth. It turned out really tasty. Still not the easiest to shred, but definitely not dry. It's going into these delicious ranch chicken sandwiches for dinner tonight, and the real magic is in the dressing and sun-dried tomatoes. This healthy ranch is made with half a cup of Greek yogurt, a third a cup of homemade mayo, 2 tablespoons of milk, a splash of Worcestershire, dried herbs, garlic and onion powder, cayenne, and salt and pepper. So good. I went light on the cayenne for the kids' sake, and next time I think I'll blend it in my small little immersion blender attachment. There's not quite enough liquid here for the regular blender, and a little tricky to get out. And the salad that kind of gets smushed into the sandwich is super simple, just arugula and sun-dried tomatoes and sesame seeds, but it adds a lot of flavor. Arugula is definitely becoming my favorite lettuce lately. It's just, I love that like really peppery taste. To assemble, just melt the cheese with the chicken and sauce and then add the salad on the top at the end. These turned out so good, not your average sandwich. It's honestly tastes something like you get from a fancy sandwich shop, but even better because it's so healthy. I really love meals like this that result in a lot of leftovers, come together in bits throughout the day or days. It makes the evening flow so much smoother, especially during that witching hour right around 4 p.m. Not being stuck in the kitchen at that time is a game changer for the evenings, and I find they just flow so much better and we're all a little bit happier. Tonight we were able to eat early and spend a long, relaxed evening outside before it got dark, which is coming earlier and earlier these days. Who else is not looking forward to that time change? Definitely my least favorite part of fall. Thanks for spending a bit of your day in the kitchen with me. If this brought a little comfort or inspiration, please like and subscribe to follow along for more. Take care.